introduce us, or just Jim and Paul? Or, I'm not sure how you want to do that. Or should I
You
myself?
introduce them. I might have to put some words over the top.
So
As at the end, we might have to see how we started.
okay. So should I introduce
Go ahead,
myself?
introduce yourself. Why are we here? Who are you? Who, what, where, why, and when? Who are you? Why are we here?
Okay.
Why are we talking to Paul?
Are we
Mm-hmm.
rolling?
Yep, we're rolling.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jim Mathias, and I've been helping Dr. Whitley with OSB for about 2.5 years now. I came here just to help him in the lab, but it turns out I needed help myself, and I'm a Vietnam veteran, and I've had high blood pressure and many different things, AFib, one of them, and I had cancer from Agent Orange. As I got older, I found out that all of Vietnam kind of followed me home. I was diagnosed with PTSD, and Dr. Whitley said he wanted to put this appliance in my mouth that would help me breathe and that would calm my adrenaline down. He said I was operating off of adrenaline, and all these things were like a frog in a pan of water to me. I didn't realize it, but the day that he put this in my mouth, my blood pressure went down to normal in 10 minutes. And that was the first thing I noticed. And the second thing I noticed is that my whole insides just calmed down. And I didn't realize that I wasn't calm before. I had been, when I was diagnosed with PTSD, the military diagnosed that. And then I went to some counseling and found out where my triggers were. I could never enjoy 4th of July or anything like that. I was always reacting, and I couldn't watch a war movie without it bringing things back to me all the time. But when I got this in my mouth, I found out that all the things they taught me about triggers, I really was trying to use it, but this calmed me down to where I could respond and not react. Didn't all happen in one day, but then I saw my wife becoming more relaxed around me, and I never could figure out why she wasn't relaxed around me. Now I can, but at the time it was difficult. Sometimes I thought it was other people's problem, but the more I relaxed, the more I realized I could respond versus react. And counseling's good. Breathing's even better, opening your airways. And I don't mean to gross you out, but this little thing has changed my life. He puts contours on it that brings your tongue up over, because I also had sleep apnea. Like my tongue, snoring is like strangling yourself to death, and it has to do with the tongue. CPAP machines are great, but it's nice to do something that you don't need all that, and I keep it in all the time. I'm addicted to it, but it just raises my tongue up. I can breathe, and everything calms down inside. And it's been an amazing journey. There's been different adjustments to it as my jaw relaxes and I relax. There's shifts that happen that we keep making the adjustments until you find your sweet spot, and then it's all good. But anybody that gets this would normally realize something pretty quickly, that some things are happening, but it's not like a pill that you just take it every time you have a headache. You just leave it in, and except for when you're eating, of course, and in time you start recognizing changes. And it was interesting to me that people started recognizing changes in me that I wasn't recognizing. That's when it becomes fun. But Dr. Whitley and I were sitting there one day, and I realized this has really helped me with PTSD. And I said, I was a soldier. I said, I wonder if other soldiers could use this. And so it was like, boom, we just started realizing, hey, this could really, really be good for that. So um, then we started realizing, wait a minute, it's not just soldiers that have PTSD. There's first responders, firefighters, policemen, EMT people. And that's why we've got Paul here today, because Paul and I met, and he told me he had just gone through some counseling for PTSD. I said, oh, really? I said, well, me too. And then we started sharing things together, and I told him about it. And Paul, I'd really be interested in if you could share your journey to OSB, and and what you were going through just before that.
Okay. My name is Paul Valencic. Now I'm a retired fireman. Did it for 42 years total. Started when I was 16, and I did 5 years in the Air Force as a fireman. That's why I went in. Came out, got hired in Alexandria, did 26 years there. And after Alexandria, I was working at Dulles Airport, did it for 6 years. And things were going great. And actually it was it was winter last year, roughly about this time. Met Jim at a life group from the church. And he could see something going on in me, just the way I was in public. Hypervigilant, always on guard. And I really was, I didn't know it. For me, that was normal. I figure after years, decades of working as a fireman, you just naturally pay attention to your surroundings. And but no, what I was doing it was not normal. I mean, we're talking severe PTSD, and I never considered that until talking to him. He told me what he was going through, his flashbacks, and so I looked into it, and because of him, I searched to see what help was out there for PTSD. Started seeing a counselor, and I found out about this a rehab facility that's in Maryland, that's through the union. Ended up staying there for 2 months. I got lots of help with PTSD. When I came out, I was a whole lot better. The thing about it, there was still something nagging, the panic attacks were gone. The bad thoughts were gone, but I still had a little bit of stress. And actually, I was addicted to that stress. For me, if since I wasn't working as much as I used to work, the adrenaline rush that I had at work, never knowing what to expect, never knowing what the next call was going to be, I loved that. We got there, get through the situation, help these people out, and that was great. But when life slowed down, that's when everything else, it ramped up. The PTSD, anxiety, right before I went into rehab, I had a panic attack that lasted for 6.
It's okay, bro. It's okay.
Yeah, it was a 6-hour panic attack. And I think about it, I can still get back into there. But after talking to Jim, when he told me about PTSD, that's when I decided to get help. It's the best thing I ever did. Came back out, and he was, again, it was after a life group, and he was telling me about his insert. This little thing right here. And he told me, just go ahead, swing by the office, see what they can do. It's easy to do. It was a fantastic thing. Got fitted for it. They took the mold, came back later on that same day, put it in, they did a few adjustments, and wore it for a couple of weeks. It's fantastic, actually. Within that first day when I'm leaving, I could feel my tongue being shifted forward. My airway opened up. Dr. Whitley, he said, people will give these things a nickname. What would you like to give yours? I said, the nozzle. He said, well, why is that? Well, in a job, when you open up the nozzle, you can open up it a little bit, you get a little bit of air, but if there's a kink in it, you don't get your full effect. Well, by moving my tongue forward, it opened up my airway, and I could breathe easier. And I wore it for a couple of weeks, and I could tell, even when I take it out, my tongue was staying forward, my airway was staying open, and it helps a lot. I was actually sleeping better all night long.
Was that unusual for you to sleep all night long?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's been times, sometimes it happened at home, sometimes it happened at work, where I literally stopped breathing. And I've woken up a couple of times in a panic attack because I had stopped breathing and my airway shut off. I knew what was going on, I just didn't know how to fix it. And I did not want a CPAP machine. Well, after a couple of weeks, they said, we're gonna try and giving you one for the upper teeth. And what I like about this, I won't leave it in, but when I put this one in, my airway opens up and I go from, it used to be a garden hose to where I went to, say like an attack line, 1.5 inches, 1.75 fire hose. I put this in, it's like a 2.5 inch hose.
That's great.
But what's even better is the way that I relate to it, and other firemen can relate to this, is just think, you're breathing normal now without this in. When I put this in, it's like I put on an air pack. My airway opens up and I breathe so much easier and I get a lot more air and I'm just a lot calmer. That's the most logical way I can put it. Because with the air packs, they're positive pressure, so they're actually forcing air in. The addition of just this little piece opens my airway that, okay, without this one in, just a little bit of air coming in. Put this in, I get more. This, it's, yeah, you could run for hours, literally.
Can I ask you how's that, other than sleep, has it helped you with the coping with the PTSD?
Oh yeah. I don't have the stress, the anxiety that I used to have. Sometimes, so like lunchtime, I take it out, eat lunch, and if I get distracted, go off, get back to work, if things aren't going right, the first thing I do is I check with my tongue to see if it's in. If it's not in, I'm going to get it. It comes, it just calms me down. I can actually relax. I don't have the anxiety, the frustration, and the stress that I normally was living with.
Something I'd just like to add to this is that what we've discovered over time is when your airway is blocked, your adrenaline goes up in your body. And when your adrenaline goes up, it starts affecting your autonomic nervous system, which is everything you can't control. You'd think that we could just sit around and think, well, I need to de-stress.
Yeah.
But I can't just de-stress because my airway's blocked. And it just seems to be a lot of people have that now. And you're not, it's okay to have adrenaline rush when you're at the fire.
Yeah.
Or in a firefight.
And you need it.
And you need it. But after a while, it just stays constant. And that's why we're in stress, and that's why we're reacting and everything. You open the airway up, you know,
Yeah.
you're not in adrenaline rush all the time. I didn't realize it, you didn't realize it until you can breathe,
Until it's gone.
and there it goes.
And I know a few years ago at work, we had a guest speaker came in, and she said, you know, when things just seem to get a little stressful and you seem overwhelmed, just stop, take some deep breaths, and you'll feel yourself calm down. Now I don't have to stop. I don't have to take the deep breaths because the air is coming in so easy.
That's so
Love it.
cool.
I do notice a change. You know, I can go around without the top one in, but why? It's comfortable. The only time I take the top one out is to eat and to talk. For me, when I have this one in and I talk, I have a lisp. So
Why don't
We
you
can
show
fix
us?
that too.
yeah, okay. But you know, yeah, I'm normally, you know, if I'm just in a slight conversation with people, yeah, I'll leave it in. But if it's going to be a long-term conversation, like on the phone, yeah, I do take it out.
You notice it, I didn't notice it.
Yeah.
But I do understand that, because if I feel like I sound funny,
Yeah.
other people say, well, you sound the same to me, because I didn't notice any difference.
Well, trust me, I do.
I know you do.
Mhm.
I know you do. It's true. But that's a big fear that people have. They think that they're gonna sound funny, but
Yeah.
we can adjust that to where you won't.
How has this affected family, friends, the people that you see every day?
Well, first off, moving out to the country, I don't see as many people as I used to. So that's another peaceful part of my life. Moving next to a lake, it's a great thing for me. My wife has felt more relaxed around me, and if I get a little edgy, she can tell that I don't have it in. I put it back in, separate for a little bit, you know, it's like, yeah, I'm good, I'm breathing. So we're doing well.
It's funny you should say that, because my wife has one now. She didn't think she needed it, but the other day we were sitting there talking, and all of a sudden she said, "Oh, I gotta go." She put it on the counter or something, and she said, "I gotta put my appliance in." It's like I can take it out for a little while and be okay.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden I start feeling all that just rushing back in, and I gotta get it. I gotta get on it, and what a difference it makes.
People say this about narcotics then, or medicine.
Yeah.
They feel that medicine wearing off and they take another pill. This has no side effects.
Yeah, there's no pills to this. There's no pharmaceuticals. You don't have to keep going and getting more prescriptions. And once in a while, an adjustment, and then you're good to go.
Just a couple minutes that I've had it in, when I'm breathing, it feels like I'm wearing my face piece and my air pack. The air just, it's it just flows in. I mean, it rushes in.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good thing. Well, you can. I've been doing this for 2.5 years, so you've only been doing this for what, a couple months?
2 months.
2 months, and you're already realizing all that.
Yeah.
More and more will keep happening. It's an amazing change. As a matter of fact, my wife, when I first started doing this, she would say, "I don't want to tell you this because you're going to react." I said, "No, I've changed." And she said, "I don't know." So it took her a while to realize I wasn't just putting on. I really changed. It really changed. I'm starting acting the way I really feel is a real me, because I wasn't being adrenalized to the point that I was on fight or flight all the time. And so it took people around me a while to realize, hey, he's back. You know.
Paul, what would you say to men, women watching this video? They have turned on this video because it's about post-traumatic stress. They might relate as a firefighter, loving that adrenaline, loving what's next, that firefighter,
Yes.
that police officer, that first responder, let alone any military. What would you say if you were standing with them face to face?
Try for yourself. That's the only way you're going to find out. It does work. It is worth it. Painless, quick, easy. It's just one tool in your toolbox. Life is better when you can breathe easier. The other thing that I would say is, if you get addicted to that stress, don't be afraid to ask for help. It's out there. It does wonders for you. The IAFF Center of Excellence, the 2 months that I was there was equal to 5 years of therapy. And I got through a lot that I did not know I was dealing with. But this here was, next to the counseling, this was the best tool that I've ever used to help me get through stuff.
I don't know if you would agree with this, but the counseling that I got was awesome. This helped me to process it better.
Yeah.
Are you finding that? I mean, it's all good. I needed that too.
Yeah.
But this is helping me to process it. And it affects your relationships. It really does. It affects. One thing with PTSD is it makes us want to withdraw.
Yes.
You want to be in the fight, but it makes you want to withdraw. And so people find it harder to penetrate our vulnerability just because of all the adrenaline. And this calms me down enough to where I can be relatable, and it's easier for me to process all those things. I have an experience. I actually enjoyed the 4th of July this past year. Are you kidding me? I mean, that people usually ask me, "What do you do for 4th of July?" I said, "Well, I go in the house, I turn the air conditioner up, and I put on a loud movie so I can't hear all that." And then Dr. Whitley asked me to watch a war movie, Full Measure. And I said, "Well, okay." And I watched it, and it was very good. But it's the first time I've watched a war movie, and I didn't relive it every day after that.
Yeah.
I just was able to watch it objectively and relate to it, but it didn't cause me 10 million flashbacks. It's like a miracle. It was a miracle. I'm just really grateful for this. Is that enough?
I think this is good.
I got something else though.
Okay, great.
So, no matter how long you've been doing the job, no matter how good you are, how much you like that adrenaline, eventually your career ends. Those off days, you need them to heal up, to rest, recuperate, so you can get back into the fight. But eventually your career ends. Then what are you gonna do? You gotta take care of yourself now. You take care of yourself now, your life is gonna be better later on. And if you're in that area where you're close to retirement, get this set. It's gonna help you just to relax and calm your mind and get your body back to the natural state where it's supposed to be, not that hyped up adrenaline filled state. That will hurt you in the long run. I'm glad I did it.
Beautiful ending.
Couldn't ask for any better. Thank you, Paul.